Hey guys, welcome back to Animated Chaos. I'm Shantha.
I'm Kyle.
And today we're going to be talking about our top, well, I wouldn't even say top favorite, it's just our favorite anime voice actors.
Or really just our favorite voice actors in general, because I've got some that aren't just anime.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because I think one of mine is not just anime either. I think he did cartoons.
I've got a little bit of everything in here.
Alright, well, which one do you want to start with?
Well, right at the top of my list, I've got Veronica Taylor, who is someone I just grew up watching. She was the voice of Ash for the first 8 seasons of Pokemon, and that's where I knew her from. But she's really honestly been involved in voice acting since the mid-90s and is still currently a voice actor. And I absolutely adore her. She's just got this wonderful motherly sound to her. Being a mother, that makes sense for her. And she just knows how to really give just this wonderful vibe that you feel comfortable listening to her. And she also just has a really good range. She's able to actually do kid male voices really well. Hence the reason why she was really good as Ash for the longest time.
I couldn't really get into Pokemon. I like the voice actors in Pokemon. I just couldn't get into Pokemon. I never understood it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, if you're leaning towards female voice actors doing male roles, I think mine would have to be the one that did Black Butler. What was her name?
Oh, Brandon Pullins, yeah.
Yeah, I like her.
Mm-hmm.
I really love her voice. Now, granted, I've seen her do like female voice actors, female characters before, but I really liked her voice that she does for male characters. I don't know, it's kind of like raspy a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I love a good raspy voice.
Yeah, so she's one of my favorite female voice actors that can do that really well, and I love hearing her voice, especially when she's playing a male character. Now, I've heard her play female characters, but it hits different when she does her female.
She also does Julia Loxar, so there's a good example right
there.
Okay,
yeah.
So,
so I like hers, and then I think the first, aside from her, because I found her voice in Black Butler, which is one of my favorite animes, and then I think it was Greg Ayres. His voice can range so far. I haven't really heard him do very many like adult characters. There's a lot more of like younger kid characters. I think he's done one that I know of, and even I think to him he said it was kind of weird to play that because he's never heard his voice pitched deeper.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been the kid
pitched higher.
Yeah, the pitched higher voices. So I really enjoy his acting and the way he portrays the characters. It's just a lot of fun for me.
I can't remember if it was him or if it was his late brother who was the one who voiced Monokuma in the Danganronpa animated series, and they accidentally gave him the edited footage once, and he had to try to meet that, and then they realized their mistake after the fact when they go to try to edit it, and it wasn't sounding right, and they're like, we gave you the wrong footage, and he's like, I will never go that high again.
Yeah, I think it was him, because it was like a hiatus in that anime. They went to another project, and so when they came back to it, they gave him the wrong tape to film, and he was like, instead of them giving me just the normal one for me to practice with, they gave me the one that they had already pitched up, because that character already had a high-pitched voice, and since his voice is already kind of high-pitched, they pitched up even more, and so he got his vocal cords to do that, because he thought that was the original, and so when he went in, doing the voice actor, doing the role with that new pitched tone, and then when they pitched it up, they realized, okay, something's not right with this, like what's going on, and they realized, oh yeah, we made a mistake. And so I would
request a momentary break after that one if that was me.
Well, I don't know if he said it like basically destroyed his voice, but it was close to destroying his voice. And so even when he goes to like conferences and he'll play on a character, that's one of the characters he said he'll never do for anybody. He said because it destroyed his voice to do it. But I mean, it was a good character. I think it was it the anime when he was playing like the tutor for the prince or something like that? It was one of those.
The royal tutor?
Yeah, was it the royal tutor that he had to do that for?
Oh, probably. I haven't seen that one in a little while, but I do like royal tutors. That's a good one.
Yeah, so I think it was that one. I think it's been a long time since I've actually watched any like conferences with him, and that was of course older. But he did mention that he will not do that voice for people because they're like, oh, can you do this character? He's more than happy to do it, but he said that one particular character I will never do because it, trauma. He was traumatized basically by it. But what else ones you got?
Well, I got the late, great Rachel Lillis. Unfortunately, she did just pass from her breast cancer diagnosis. She was the one that I was wanting to have that link to the donation thing for.
Mm-hmm.
And just like Veronica Taylor, she was someone who I grew up watching from the Pokemon anime and several other series in the 4Kids era of dubbing. And she was such a phenomenal voice actress. She had such a range. She could go high-pitched and sound like a kid, and it was phenomenal. It sounded great. Then she could go deep and sound adult, and she could meet somewhere in the middle as well, and it was beautiful. And she will absolutely be forever missed because she was phenomenal. And my heart goes out to all her friends and family because I was heartbroken when I found out. I was heartbroken when I found out she had cancer. I absolutely despise cancer with every fiber of my being because I've had family that have had cancer. And I've had family that had to be in nursing homes, and I've seen the worst of it all. So it broke my heart when I found out that she even had to deal with any of that. And she was only like 55, 57 when she passed. Accounts vary, unfortunately, so I'm not 100% sure how old she was, but she was somewhere in the mid-50s. So she was a baby.
Yeah, in comparison.
She was an absolute baby. She should have been able to live to a long and happy, healthy, normal end. Cancer is a nightmare from hell that deserves to be eradicated. So.
And yeah, that's still an ongoing thing.
They're trying. They are trying their damnedest to actually be able to get rid of cancer, but it's just easier said than done, unfortunately. Yeah. But I know I'm going to miss her. But unfortunately, she also had pretty much retired from voice acting by around 2016 or so. She wasn't getting the roles.
Mm.
And that is so sad because she had the incredible range and talent that, to me, deserved far more roles than she was getting. But she just wasn't getting the roles. And I don't know why. I don't know what happened. But it was what it was, I guess.
Voice acting is just hard. Like it seems like a fun, rewarding job. It just seems hard.
Yeah, especially if you're not getting paid well for it. And I'm sure that was part of it too. Like, she moved from New York to California, as did so many others, because the roles were not popping up in New York the way they needed to. And it didn't seem to help. That's the sad part of it, is unless she was doing stuff that just wasn't getting listed on websites like Behind the Voice Actor, which is entirely possible, she just wasn't getting anything, and that's sad. So, she will absolutely be forever missed, because she was just an icon of fantastic voice work, and she will be remembered for all that she did. She was a major part of many people's childhoods. Her, Veronica Taylor, and so many others. So, what about you? What you got?
I think it kind of still falls into like the Black Butler thing. Is it Michael Tatum?
Oh, J. Michael Tatum?
Yeah.
I like him. He actually followed me on Twitter.
He does?
He does. Not that matters because my Twitter is dead.
I like his work. It's just something about his voice. Like,
Oh, it's a gorgeous voice.
I know. Oh my gosh.
The
Oh my
depth.
gosh. I love.
You feel like you're melting when you're listening to his
I
voice.
know. I mean, hello. I mean, in Black Butler, I was like, he's a demon, but you know what? You can take my soul. It's okay.
Absolutely.
And I was like, that is so twisted. But it's just like his voice was perfect for Black Butler. I'm not saying that the subbed one wasn't, but you can't touch.
You can't beat people like J. Michael Tatum.
Yeah, you can't touch that one. His voice is
That
just
smoothness.
yes.
There's something I love. I love both extremely smooth, rich voices, and I love extremely raspy and rough voices.
Wasn't he also a character in the Orange House Club? Like,
Oh yeah,
the glasses one.
He was a nerdy one.
The characters he played
are too young for his voice, but it works.
Not just that. It's like there's a certain type of character that he always plays, right?
Smart, clever.
Yeah, and it's like
And a little
snarky.
devious.
Yes, like the snarky one is just like, yeah, sure. Like, we gotta watch you. You gotta, So he has there's types of characters, that stereotypical characters that just fit him really, really well. But I love it.
Listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with a good stereotype. If it works,
Yeah,
work with it.
And glasses. Every
Like-
character that has a glass, you know how they're going to push their glasses up.
Listen, for a voice actor, they say don't get caught up in
Like typecast.
typecasting, but I think there's nothing wrong with typecasting in a voice actor because it guarantees you a role. It guarantees you a type of role.
Because when
where
someone
if you're
sees the
well known
character,
for it
they're
and you're
gonna
well
pick you.
known for it, yes. Because like look at Bryce Papenbrook, he gets a lot of lead male roles because he's very good at it. He always knows how to bring that kind of energy. He's actually only just recently been branching out and doing more villain roles because he's trying to break that typecast. But I don't think there's anything wrong with having a typecast that works for you. If it works in your favor, go for it.
I think it kind of bleeds into one of those kind of like you're wanting to explore something else, but everyone's
Absolutely.
keeping you in that box.
Don't get bored.
Yeah, so
That's a problem.
and I think that's a lot of it is like I know that I can do this, but I want to see if I can do this character, and if no one's giving you that opportunity, I can see it on both sides, voice acting or just acting in general. You don't want to get typecast in that sense because people always just see you as this particular person, and so anything you do outside of that, it won't get as much traction or it'll face a lot of criticism.
Yeah, but
And not
at
good
the same
criticism.
time, at the least with the typecast, you know you're going to get a role.
With voice acting, it's
Yes.
voice acting. As an actor, you don't really want to get typecast now in that sense because you will be stuck in that box and it's hard to break. And then movies change, genres change, and if you're constantly seen as just this one type of character, it's hard to break that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just really hard. If you do a character so well, which is great, but then it's like you can't get any other type of work. With voice acting, yes, to be typecast in a certain extent would be great because if I see this character, boom, I automatically know who I want to play this, and I'm hoping that they're available to play it. So yeah, with voice acting, it's a little different because if I see this character, I know exactly who I have in mind, whether it's a Japanese voice actor or an American or Canadian, whatever voice actor that's in it. It's a little easier with that because you have so many voice actors. That's why it's harder for. Even though, like you're saying, she was amazing, but it was hard for her to get roles, is because they probably, like when you typecast, you have a certain person in mind. And so you have those big name voice actors that are very, very successful because anytime somebody see that character, they already know, I want this person.
True.
Like they disregard anybody else because they already know who they want. And if that person's available, they get them. If not, then they might either put that show on hold or they'll bite the bullet and pick someone else.
Yeah. Now let's just establish this. Neither Shy nor I are actors in any regard. We're just a couple of nerds. We know who we like, and we like talking about them.
Yeah, and these are just our opinions because I went to school with a girl. Her voice, she could change her voice, and I think she could have done voice acting because it was cool and creepy how she would do it because her voice would be kind of like mine. But then she could pitch it up really high. And then it could be like a little kid. And you're just like, where's that kid voice coming from? And she's over there just chilling. Because you're not expecting it to come from her. So it was one of those like, I wish I could do that with changing my voice like that. I cannot, anybody can, not anybody, but it's like you can change the pitch of your tone. A lot of times it's code switching.
Oh, yeah.
Those who know the code switching. So, how I'm talking right now is not how I would talk at work.
Right.
So everyone has that ability to switch up how they talk, how they speak, the tone of their voice. Like right now, if my phone was to ring and if it was my work phone, I wouldn't just answer like, what? It'd be like, hello? Like,
right, exactly.
It'll change. But aside from that, is just not that level of talent that they have. It's amazing. And a lot of them, it's not even changing their voices. Like with Gregary's, it's just his voice. It's just how he talks. But it's so unique and it works.
And that's the thing. If you've got a unique voice, that's going to get you somewhere. I know one. It's hard to call it a skill because it's not something that I've practiced. You remember back when we were in college and we were going to plan that study group for our first history exam or something like that.
Very good.
And the Scottish exchange student was asking me something I had spaced out. And as soon as you jolted me out of it, and I was like, I don't know, I just slipped into his accent. That's something I can do. I can slip into other people's accents. But I have to be around that person long enough to just slip into their accent. And I can pick it up. And if I'm in it, I can stay with it. But it's not something I can just...
You got to hear it from it. Well, I think that's a lot of...
it's talent and skill and practice.
and it kind of goes into that whole sink or swim type thing.
Yeah.
Because like you
use it or you don't.
Yeah, you gonna learn or you don't. You're gonna survive or you don't.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of goes back with, because we had a lot of foreign exchange students at our school. That's basically what the school was based.
Yeah, it was a very soccer-based school, so we had a lot of Brazilian foreign.
Yeah, Brazilian, British, people from the UK over there, and so
UK,
yeah, we had a lot of them for the UK. One kid in particular, in my brain that I'm thinking of, but since when you're around them so much and you hear the accents, it's easy to start like talking like that, and you're not doing it on purpose, and you're not doing it to like make fun. You just generally like, I like what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So then I start talking like that, and I'm just like, it's gonna seem like I'm making fun, and I'm really not. It's just
if I love your accent,
like
I love your accent.
Yeah, and then I'll just start saying certain phrases, and I could just be talking normal, and then my words might jumble up, or I might, stumble over what I'm trying to say, and it'll come out as an accent, and then I'll just run with it and just keep talking what I was doing.
Go with it
until I was done, and then I would switch back over. But with me, voice acting is just, I don't know. It's not bad to be typecast.
It's something I admire and I wish I could do.
It really is, because his voice, again, goes back with the typecasting. It's like, and we're just saying typecasting, it'd be something completely different, but it's one of those, like, when you see a character, you're just like, oh, okay, I know. Oh, that voice, it fits you perfect.
And when you can just recognize a voice on a dime because they're that iconic,
you get excited.
You do get excited.
I get excited, like, oh my God, I know who that is. And then sometimes you Google it and it's not who you thought it was, and you're like, oh.
And it just sounded like, and you're like, oh.
Like, yeah, it's like, oh, okay, all right.
You're on my radar now.
Yeah, I got you.
There have been several people where I thought it was somebody and it's not, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Go you.
Like it fits.
Like a really good example is the recent Digimon Adventures 2020 redo series. Mm-hmm. And they recast pretty much everybody in that series for good reason. I remember we were talking last week about not really caring for when they recast. But in this case, half the original voice cast has retired entirely and doesn't voice act anymore. One of them has passed away. For unknown reasons, his family never revealed it, and that's entirely their right to do so. So we have no idea what he passed from. We just know he did. And the other half still active, but when you're missing so many,
you don't want to.
It's kind of hard to do half and make it work.
That to me though, that's a little different. I understand that. That's a little different. I don't like when everybody's the same, and it's not even like a background character, because background character, whatever, it's one of the main characters, and it's just like one or two of them, but everybody's still the same. You're just like, that voice is different, that voice isn't right. And again, it goes back to, oh God, I can't remember the name of that anime, but with Greg Harris was in it, and the entire cast got basically kicked off the project and replaced, and they were just like, irks my soul when I saw the because people asked them at one of their Comic-Cons or whatever it was, when the voice actor things, someone asked them, like, what was up with that? Like, what happened? And they basically told them, it's like, we don't know either. Like, we were upset about it as well. Yeah. And so, yeah, that I don't like, is because it wasn't so much as, they couldn't do the project, because you could have waited, whatever the case may have been. You just completely just said, nope, and pulled a whole new cast. And so I stopped watching that one, because I'm just like, you replaced everybody, and the dynamic, the feelings just wasn't there for me anymore. Yeah, because the cast that you had was just perfect to me.
And dynamic means everything in a series when you're doing that.
It was lacking, and no shade, nothing against the people that had to replace it, because it's just as hard as for them.
Absolutely, if not harder.
Yeah, to have to come in on a show that's already had a great cast, and then try to continue that on and try to match the voices, but no one can really match Greg Harris' voice. His voice is just too distinct for me. Yeah, it's just too unique. And the minute, because he was playing the Monkey King, the minute that character opened his mouth, I went, no. I was like, no, that's not right. But I digress. We'll go on to our next person.
Yeah, well, the next on my list would be Jim Cummings, and he is a shining example of someone who has been a part of this world for a very long time. Like, there is not a single person alive since at least the 80s that doesn't know Jim Cummings, because he has been the voice of so many things. Like, he's currently the voice of Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, but he's also the voice of Pete from the Mickey Mouse franchise. He's really the voice of so many Disney characters that he's got basically almost an eternal list of characters. It's insane. And that's really just scratching the surface because he is so incredible. His versatility, his skill, his talent, his range. It's scary and it's incredible. And then he's got this ability to just do fun voices and fun accents that even if it's not like accurate, I guess, to something, it's fun. Like, I remember in the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh that came out in 1980s, there was a character, a horse, bad guy, whatever, called Nasty Jack. Yeah, the character was called Nasty Jack.
Wasn't that on Cartoon Network or something?
No, it was Disney because it was New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. It was back in the 80s and early 90s.
Oh, sorry, I must be getting confused with that other weird...
He just did this very kind of long, drawn-out, country-ish accent. I don't even know how to describe it because it was kind of a blend of several different accents. But it worked. It worked really, really well, and it was entertaining as all get out. And then he also voiced, I think, in that same series, probably within the first 6 episodes, he voiced a character called Crud or something like that, which was supposed to be a monster under the bed situation. That whole series was very creative, and we will talk about that series in the future.
It's called what?
The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
A monster under the bed in Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, it was within like the first 6 or so episodes of the first season. They were very creative in that first season, and then it maintained its creativity throughout, but that earliest point in the series, they just went all in on all of the creative stuff they could do. It was really fun. But we'll be definitely talking about that series for sure in its own episode in the future, because I love it, and I have plans for it. Jim Cummings is just someone who, his versatility, his talent, his skill, it's absolutely unrivaled. And there's a reason why he's still, to this day, is a constant in the voice acting world. He's really something else.
I like the voice of Winnie the Pooh. Apparently they say Winnie the Pooh is a female. I'm going to stop you right there. Winnie the Pooh is
He's always been a boy.
They said it's a girl because the name's Winnie. And I said, y'all better go away. It's Winnie the Pooh is a boy. So, no. Yeah, I know. Found it. I know it was not his.
Son Goku.
Yeah,
Okay.
the great sage something or another.
The Great Sage equaling heaven.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Never seen it, never even heard of it.
it was such a good show. That's what ticks me off so much because it's good. It's good. You had a priest that was supposed to be all holy. He would shoot you right there and there. He didn't care. He would just clock you. So it was really, really good. It was so well done. But yeah, I was waiting for the next season to come and
disappointment just
because I was like, oh yes, finally, and I went, what? And I was like, okay, maybe they just replaced one character's voice. And I kept listening, and I was like, you replaced everybody? Like, what happened? And so, as most people did, we went to Google and searched, because Google's free. And they were saying, but it was one of those just like, other obligations came up, and then it interfered with filming or whatever. And then someone at the conference asked, like, is that true? And they were just like, no. Like, we can tell you now, no, because they couldn't speak on it at the time. But they was like, we can say it now. No, that was not what happened. So it's he said, she said. Really, we never really know. All I know is I should have put that in animes. I stopped watching. I didn't finish it because of that reason. The voice, they literally changed it, in my opinion, for no reason. Next character.
You're next on the voice actor situation.
I finished my little tidbit. My little titter. Todd Habercorn, I think, is my next one.
He's also on my list, so we can do that.
Yeah. The one is kind of weird.
I love Todd Habercorn. He's phenomenal. We were just talking about him with the Takashi stuff, actually.
Yeah, he has a comforting... Apparently Greg Harris was in that Takashi thing. It showed it
Okay.
on his list thing. I think maybe a small...
It must have been season 2.
Yeah, like a small cameo or something. But, what was one? Was it Sergeant Frog or something?
I never finished that one.
It's one of... Look at that. It's one of those, it's like... I didn't either, so I can't really talk. But it's one of those, like, he has like kind of like feel good voices, you know, like he can make he pulls the emotion out of you.
Oh, he's so good.
Like, he can really pull the emotions from you, and I'm just like, why am I sad about this? And then they put him and Greg Ayres together in Ouran Host Club, and it was.
They sounded so similar in that it was beautiful.
It was perfect because they're identical twins, so like the voices, like they
matched so beautifully,
well.
and they weren't the exact same voice. They were just distinct enough you could tell the difference.
Yeah,
but it was
beautiful.
Good choices were made that day.
Oh my gosh, that cast in general from that was just perfect because you had basically almost all of my favorite voice actors in one show. So like it was a dream come true for me. When I saw that, I was like, oh my god, I was like, that voice. And again, when I watched a lot more dubbed at the time, it was very easy for me to distinguish the voice. So I picked it up, I was like, wait a minute.
I watch a lot more dub than I do sub because I've got other things I need to be doing. And if I want to watch a dub series, it's going to be a lot easier to be able to listen to it, even if I can't watch it while I'm doing other stuff.
At the moment, a lot of the anime that I'm watching is so new that
it only has a sub.
Only has sub. Yeah. So unless I'm watching like my feel good shows like that they've dubbed over at this point or caught up with,
I've got feel good shows they still haven't dubbed it. I'm pissed about it.
So it's one of those just the casting that was like perfect. It was like a dream come true for me because I love when I can get all my voice actors that I really like in one project together, and they're not just
and you're
like
just giddy with joy over
it. Because especially when they're the main characters, it's not like just like a one-off, like one episode guest appearance. Not like they're the main characters. So all of them together was just perfect. And I don't know if they actually was in the same booth or that they had the separate booths. I don't remember. I remember watching like a little conference when they had them all together for.
I'm pretty sure with Ghost Stories they mentioned having them all in the same booth so they could just riff, but that was an outstanding
I loved Ghost
circumstance.
Stories. Ghost Stories was so good. It was so funny because they had said in that one that when Japan had it, it didn't do well, and so they basically just said, "Do whatever you want with it," and they went, "Bet." And they just did whatever, and it worked, and it was so much. It was way more popular.
People still get so pissed about it.
It was way more popular dubbed than sub, but I compared it.
People get their panties in a wad over it today, and I'm just like, listen, I get it, I understand because of the racism and all that stuff like that, but you also got to understand nothing about that series at any point in time, now or in the past, whatever, is meant to be taken even the slightest bit serious. It's 100% pure joke.
It's satire, the entire thing.
Yeah, it's not a reflection on these people. It's literally just, how can we take this and make it the most horrible thing possible in the most funny way possible? And as the older it gets, the more outdated those jokes become, and the more funny those jokes become because they're so outdated.
And even in the time of filming, some of the jokes were outdated because they were like
they were probably like 5-10 years old.
Yeah, they were just like, they're not going to get this joke, and because I think it was Greg Ayres, he said the joke that his character had to say, he goes, they're not going to understand this, and then he said there was a guy who said one person. I don't give
one
person will get it, and he goes, sure enough, when they aired it, when they did a screening for it, that one person was like, ah, and they caught it, and he goes, oh, there it is, someone did get it, because he said no one's going to understand this joke, and he goes, no, one person's going to get it, one person will understand it. And they did. When they did the screening, some people, when that one person in there laughed because they got it. And so they just had so much more freedom, which I think a lot of voice actors, and I know Greg in particular has said that they get to, they love having free reign to, set up how this character is going to be portrayed. And so they had so much fun with it. And you could tell, and it was just so fun to watch, because when I first watched Ghost Stories, which... Again,
you introduced that one to me as well.
Yeah.
You introduced me to a lot of stuff that I still keep on my consistent watch list.
It's really good. Yes, the art style is very way back, but it's
I love the old art style.
Though.
I love old art styles. In anything animation, I love an old art style because it's more detailed in some areas.
It's almost like painted.
Yeah, it probably was actually hand painted, but it's more detailed in older stuff than it is in newer stuff. Like, I really don't like the new animation style that a lot of series are going with those really simple, shapy designs. It's like, put some life into it, please. Thank you.